Finally, a Platinum that's more current release to have a video for you. Though I did have this over a month ago, I finally got my arse in gear to do the review. Modern Warfare 2 Remaster is for us nostalgia fans of the series, and I remember this fondly as I have the original Platinum. Yes, I am that old. Chunks I remember, other bits I don't, but sadly this is campaign only, so only single player, no multiplayer, none of the spec ops, just the story. I'm personally okay with that, but sadly an opportunity to shove the maps and spec ops from Modern Warfare 2 into the new COD with some polish would have been a slight redemption for not having all the fun shoved into this remaster, though I do understand why they didn't put the multiplayer, because you don't want to detract the fan base from the current hit that is going on with Modern Warfare as it is. So all that out of the way, this is a solid fun game that has lived up to its age gameplay wise. I completed it 3 times, one just on normal, then veteran, and then on regular for the Immortal trophy, which is no dying or checkpoint spawning to complete a level on all levels. Be warned, one trophy I feel splits the herd here, and it's beating BX time in 19.8 seconds in the training. It's not easy, and it will have you swearing and frustrated, and unless you're stupidly freakish at games, getting it is going to be a struggle. But once you beat that, this Platinum is smooth sailing. Apart from that, there's no other troubles really for you. Once you've got that, you've got the Platinum coming. So the actual game itself, right from the start, you can see they've poured some nice spit and polish into the game. The little nuances, if you just stand and take in the atmosphere, begin to show in unusual ways, but it is all appreciated. The graphical lick of paint to me isn't as clear though at first until you see an old version or see even some of the videos where they go side by side. So I can kind of remember the game with nostalgia goggles, so I don't really remember much difference until you can see side by side to actually see the actual impact and what they have done to this actual remaster, which is actually quite impressive, especially as the certain things they have changed, like when in the opening levels the plane comes and launches a missile, destroys a building. In the old one, the building doesn't really do anything, but in the new one, they actually have the building sway, the impact, and the building crumble, and has more of a general effect or sense to the gameplay, even though it doesn't directly affect it. All the music and sound effects from the original are all intact, and they still sound great. The dramatic orchestra subtly builds up the key moments, giving the story the edge and hard-hitting impact it needs, especially as you're fighting to defend America on their own soil, with that kind of movie vibe of Red Dawn, and it never gets old. Sadly though, the guns sound fairly average and poor by today's standards, and explosions are a little off, but it's a minor issue, but still something they may have been able to work on, as it just doesn't feel like they were giving you that meaty impact, or just feel like you were firing a really hefty gun. But apart from that, it was still a good job. The controls are like any other game in the franchise, so they don't really need explaining, and they're just like any other first-person shooter really anyway. But it's smooth and it reacts how you would like, and I have no real complaints or issues, bar there wasn't a great feedback, so sometimes you didn't know if people were dead. You never really got that kind of acknowledgement, so sometimes they would be down but wounded, or sometimes they just didn't really get hit at all, especially if you get shot and you shoot back. Sometimes your bullets wouldn't register on a hit on them, and it got very frustrating in veterans sometimes if you get caught out. When playing, a key thing that really stood out for me is how much I miss the edgy, chaotic set pieces and level design of the original Modern Warfare games compared to future games that came after. And yes, no Russian is in the game, unapologetic and brazen as ever, but it is an optional to skip. It's the kind of storytelling that should be commended for its raw power of ugly war that doesn't come across in many games in today's world. It's a remaster, and as such I give it 3 out of 5. You're only getting a slice of the pie, and that's a shame, especially with what is said earlier in the video, but more could have been done to bring some extra life into what is a brilliant game from the past. Hope you like the video. Give me a like, subscribe and give me feedback.